Hi, everyone. It's a sort of okay show about horses with Buck and Kyle, except my co-host stood me up, which is reminiscent of my dating days back in high school. I sort of feel a little bit sad about myself, but he must have found something more interesting to do, like hang out with his kid. So tonight we're supposed to do a preview for young riders because it's going on this weekend, Young Rider Championship. I fortunately am actually in Colorado coaching the Area 3 team. So, see, got my hat on and everything. So I have an inside scoop on a lot of the horses, and unfortunately there's such a huge number of one-star horses, which is great for the sport. That's how big it is. And to have that out here in Colorado means the sport's really growing, that people are willing to drive out here and to participate in the championships. And I mean, I'm thrilled for where that means we're going. The two-star division is fairly well turned out, considering it's it's a 30-hour, 40-hour drive for a lot of people. So I'm excited about that too. We're going to run through some of the riders and combinations, and I really apologize to all you young riders that we're not covering, because I tried to compile as much as I could, but some of these shows have really run over, and we're trying to make it just a little bit more pointed. If you want the shout out through the weekend, I promise you get the result, you get the shout out. So we're going to go in, and I think the starting part will be, because tomorrow is the two-star, dressage starts at 9:30. It runs until, I don't know, just before noon. I didn't count how many horses. It looks like about 10 or 12 in there. There's 4 teams, I believe. I don't have the teams in front. I do have the teams in front of me. Apologize. There's some combination teams because the championships for the two-star is not it's FEI, but it's not FEI championship because it is a CIC, which I think was actually a good idea to do because it allowed the qualifying to be easier. I said a couple of years ago when they made the qualifying more difficult for the two-star that it was a bad idea because we were going to end up losing the divisions to people not being able to qualify because of the seasons in the States. It is very difficult to get kids qualified for the two-star. That said, by making it a CIC, it also opens up the fall program for the riders, so they can come and do this, and they can still get to their CICs in the fall, or sorry, CCIs in the falls, get to the ACs, and still have a full season ahead of them. And I think that in itself is makes this a better way to run it in this country. I know I'm not in maybe the minority there. I know there's a lot of people with strong opinions on why it shouldn't have done that. But I'm thinking for the future of the sport, we get kids achieving their goals and get them actually motivating, hopefully, to continue their goals forward. So we have 4 teams, composite teams and full teams in the CIC two-star. A shout out, first of all, to the areas that got got a full team, and I'm probably going to screw this up. First of all, Canada showed up with 4 horses at the two-star level. That's huge because it means that they are developing, hopefully, riders that will go on. Some of these riders, I think 2 of them have gone advanced. One of them is an intermediate rider who started going intermediate last fall. And the other one, I think, is an intermediate rider and hasn't gone advanced as well. So good for them to, now it is all of Canada to make one team, but as it is in Canada, we have to at least start and celebrate the successes. So hopefully this gets a little momentum behind it and we get, things going here. There was one, so area 3 and 4 is combined, area 6 and 8 is combined, and area 5 and 9 is combined. I do believe that one of those, I think it's 6 and 8, actually would have had a full team, or I think maybe 6 or 8. I think it's area 8 actually came in with a full team, and they had of 3, and they ended up picking up one of the extra person. So the kids get to participate like a proper team competition. So I think that's awesome. There's some really nice horses in the two-star. Like I've been watching this week, been coaching and seeing a little bit what's going on, seeing some threats because it is about finding out where you stack up. A couple of ones that I think are a little bit interesting to watch. Elena Hengel, I've seen her ride for a couple of years now. I remember seeing her at the one-star a couple of years ago, and very impressive rider, very well mounted. The Zip horse, I think it won a one-star before she picked it up, but she's continued to develop and improve it. And I got to say, it's on our composite team, or it's not on our composite team. She is with her other horse. I wish the Zip horse was on there. I like the look of him. I think there's a great history there, and I think they're going to be very, very hard to beat. But if there's another horse that can beat it, it's probably your other one, which is Say I Do. I think this kid's going to be a real threat for the future if she continues to ride in this sport, and hopefully is thinking long term about how those things happen, not continuing to reinforce good horses underneath her and programs that hopefully will get her there, not programs that will just make her an intermediate and advanced horse trial winner, but programs that have a real long thought process. I'm not sure who she's working with, but the kid rides great, really well mounted. Clara Cargill on White Indian, I think was silver medalist here in the 2-star a couple of years ago. Maybe it was in the 1-star. The horse looks quite good. I think there's a little bit of, there's a couple moments on the flat by the looks of it that they could use a little improving, but that's not to say that it doesn't look like it could be a bit of a threat as well. I think the horse of the event is Alyssa Phillips on Bliss 3. This horse is outstanding. It's from Area 5. This kid rides really, really well. The horse moves the way a top horse moves. It jumps the way a top horse should move. It actually moves probably better than most top horses. Very, very reminiscent of some horses we're seeing at the top level at the moment in the States. And if you get a chance, you should probably take a watch on it, because it is like really something. And the kid's a really good rider. She should have a good weekend. And to me, coming into it, I thought that was the one to beat. I just watching this week think that possibly it's maybe going to end up second or third. We've got a couple of good ones. We've got a returning Shelby Brose, who rides with me from Canada. Was bronze medalist last year in the 1-star, has come back in the intermediate. She's ridden a couple at intermediate now, a couple different horses. One that she produced there, and then Crimson, who's the horse she has here. It's not the biggest moving horse in the world, but it's a really sound competitor. So Shelby's young. It's going to be a matter of her putting the mechanics together to get the performance. But I love this horse because it's such a workmanlike attitude, and through the whole weekend, it's just got to stay. She's just got to stay sort of not out of its way, because it's not that, but stay on track of doing the work. It is hard as an 18-year-old to come in and compete against the older kids, though. I know it seems like I'm giving her a shout-out because she's one of mine, but I do think the horse is worth mentioning because of the medal last year. And last year was a medalist against proper 4-star company, one horse that had been to the Olympics, that type of thing. So you got to think that there's a chance that she could step up here again, hopefully. If not, she needs to just get her ducks in a row, come back next year and really prove it. I've been working with Zoe Crawford. She's on the Area 3 team. This horse, I only saw it do one other test, and I saw it warm up a little bit at some other shows, and it was a bit at the last show I saw it at was a little bit of a disaster. It just seemed like it didn't have a single movement that it actually put together well, but it's going quite well. Zoe seems a very good rider. It's a really lovely horse, and it looks to me like it's coming into its own right now, which I would say last week I was a little concerned it wasn't going to. So I think she's got a pretty good chance, because after the dressage, it's a really good jumper, and it jumps for fun. So I'm putting a little bit of hope on her as well. Jamie Kellogg from Canada, and Don't Blink, is pretty solid. 54, 55 on the flat, might not break into what could be a medalist here, but she's pretty good on cross country. And then we've got April Simmons returning from Canada. She was a medalist here on this horse, impressively done. She's run advanced herself, both on this horse and another one. The thing with April is she is a competitor. Things can be going wrong, but she just puts everything behind her that might be going wrong and goes on to trying to ride for the result and the score. I will say sometimes to her demise, because she can make a mistake trying to go for it when she might need to back up a little bit and just chill out and let the result happen for her. But this horse is very well put together, and she knows it incredibly well. We've got there's another couple of nice horses here. It looks like Woods' horse from Area 8 is really nice. It looks like it's not quite settling into its work well enough this week to really get the performance, and maybe that's typical of it, but it's kind of too bad because it looks very promising, and it looks like there's a couple of things you could do to it to just kind of get it a bit squarer through its body and into the bridle. And then by the looks of it, it's such an athlete, it probably jumps great. So that's our 2-star group. If I was picking a team, I have to pick Area 3 because they're coached so well, and Buck's not here to make fun of me and call me terrible names about it. But there are some strong teams because they've done the composite, and I like that they've done that. I actually would back ours, and then I would back Canada at the moment. I think that they, for a team score, could put a number down that everybody else will have to kind of keep their stuff together to get done, because those experienced riders on the Canadian team, you really can rely on them for the result. I've seen Emma Green ride. She looks like she's coming along quite well. So I'm like, I'd favor them quite well, certainly for a medal, which might not be saying much with 4, but you've got to finish, and I think they're definite finishers. And then I rate our area quite strongly. I love that Area 8 came in with a full team, so I got to hope that they, get the result of it. But Area 5 is always very, very difficult to beat. I'm not sure who they're composited with. So that's mine. Go Area 3 because, you guys pay me to say that. And then the championship for the 1-star, it is a full FEI championship, CCI, not CIC. We have some really good horses in here, like horses that, again, you'd really like to be sitting on. The first one that I have to mention is, oh God, I don't have to pronounce the name, but it's Alexandra Baugh on Ballywin Pizzazz. That horse, I saw it at the Pan Ams in Mexico, representing America. Then Michael Pollard bought it. It was my favorite horse in Mexico. I thought it was the best horse there. I thought it was going to be a top horse when Michael Pollard bought it. I rode up to him and I was so jealous that that someone would come in and get that horse and have it underneath them. Unfortunately, it ran through some injuries there. I think trying to win a little bit too much when it was very, very capable to get to the top level, and it limited it. It was very successful at the 3-star level to a point. At this level, to me, it is unbeatable. Whether the kids got it together on it, I don't know. I just know that the horse is absolutely, truly, gifted and fantastic. We've got Katie Litchin on RF, and I apologize for butchering the names. I really need someone here doing name call for me. On RF Luminati, I've seen this one go. It looks properly nice. I will say most of the horses sourced with the RF name tend to be quite, they're special, especially the young ones. And it looks like it could be a real challenge to get ahead of it. So it's going to be good because we've got a couple good ones that can bump away at each other at the top level. Emma Johnson on Coconut Kiss. I had someone doing some background work for me. I'm hoping that she came through as well as I wanted. And all right, so it's had no FEI experience before this girl, apparently, according to this. But it does show up as quite a good horse. Ideal Contini has done a 3-star. It's a very nice horse, good mover, ridden very well at the 3-star level by Sally Cousins. I know she favored it quite strongly to be her team or possible team horse. I think it just got a little long in the tooth before she could really make the most of it. It did very well at Bromont a couple of years ago. And, it's exciting for it to have a, sort of a second career here. I think it's going to be quite fun to watch. And so the other thing in the 2-stars, a couple of those kids have actually done 3-stars and so on with their horses. And once they're running advanced and they come back down to a 2-star, it's just a matter of them not getting too greedy on the day. But the 2-star kids tend to be pretty reliable that way. The 1-star kids, I always say, are a little bit like you're herding cats. You can come with the best team in the world, and you show up at the end of the weekend, you're like, what happened? I lost everything. And then sometimes you come in with what you think is the weakest team, and they absolutely rock it and step up. It is such a mental game at this level. It is within all their capabilities to jump around this course. I thought the course, heard a couple people say the course was a little bit soft. I thought it was a little tough, and I think there's going to be cause to pay attention to it, and hopefully the riders respect that. I've got it's such a big group. So it's hard for me to go through all of them. We have a couple on our team that are very, very nice. Now, I've been fortunate because I've worked with them. I'm trying not to do the thing where you only talk about your people, but the Mr. Cool horse, Fernhill Mr. Cool, that Carson Richards riding, everybody that has watched it loves it. He's just a sweetheart, very good mover, very good over his fences. To me, he's been a little inconsistent on the flat, so not in his record, but in the work we've been doing, so it's probably because I'm not doing a very good job with them, some would say. What Law has gone very successfully at the two-star level with his previous rider. Parker Miller is really just getting to know him, but that horse has been moving and going very, very well. We've come up with a schedule that I think is going to get him to the ring well, and then it's just going to be on her to kind of put that together. And realizing there's a lot of pressure there to make that happen. And I do think we potentially, even in this group, have a potential winner on the Area 3 team without putting a lot of pressure on her. I'm just going to leave it unmentioned at the moment because I think it's hard enough for these kids sometimes to pull it up. As far as the team competition, we have, really, you really do have, you got 2 pages or 1.5 pages of teams here. And so they're proper full teams from all the areas. Most of them came with some extra riders even. How great is that for what we've got going on? The other thing is, kids, I'm happy to talk to you about the one star. We're going to keep going through this weekend. I'm going to try and keep an eye on what I can. But I'd love to hear a story. If you guys think that, don't go telling me how great you are and then disappointing. But, I want to know if some of the coaches think they've got a real one. I want to know. I want to see it because I want to be able to kind of give that look. And then at the end of the weekend, it could be a couple of these dark horses at this level. And I love that about the one-star level, unless, of course, I'm coming with the strongest team, which honestly, I think I'm coming in with a pretty good team. I think we're certainly a top 3. And I do think we could win this whole thing. But I have watched a couple of these other teams, and it is frightening how well these kids ride. So I'm not going to pick winners for this. As much as I would love to, I will say Area 4. I walked down their aisle to go up to the jog today, and I just about barfed because I saw some of those horses, and I said to the one girl, I was like, why isn't this in my barn? It was just, they were beautiful, gorgeous horses, total athletes. I've seen some of them go at other events, and they are phenomenal. And I think it's there. There's one other, and there's a couple of very good, and these are worth mentioning because they're worth shouting out. There's one horse in here from Canada that is so, it's dear to my heart because it was running advanced years ago when I was bringing on Parker. So that's quite a while. I did Radnor the year that I took him there, I think. Maybe it was the year before, actually. And that's Naughty by Nature. He's 19 years old. He's in Appaloosa. He's got no step. He's got probably no jump to do the intermediates, and he ran advanced successfully. Couldn't get the striding on the cross country. Didn't bother him a lick. He jumped it anyways. He is an absolute hero. This horse has a heart bigger than my hotel room, which is pretty bloody big at the moment. Luckily, they put me up well this time. So, it's such a cool thing that the horse is still going at this point. He's still running at 19, and he loves it. He has always loved it. He's been managed well. I know he's had a couple of little injuries over his career, but nothing that hasn't been able to be managed and then get him to this here. So, maybe it's his last run at this level, but I love that horse is here. And so I really hope it goes well for her. Kid seems really nice. I just ran into her in the barn and saw him and was like, wait a minute, I'd heard he was here. And he's a lot whiter than he used to be because he used to look a lot more Appaloosa. And then the other one that, I'm sorry, but I do have to go there is very dear to my heart, which is Eva Munchkin, was a student of mine, Sable Giesler. He won a bronze medal a silver medal at Young Riders back when Kentucky at the one-star level years ago. He should have won the two-star the following year. My kid fell forward off of a bank and missed an arrow. But this horse is an absolute winner. It jumps huge. It's got a good gallop. It's not the fastest. Doesn't have the biggest stride. But the thing is he is a trier, and on that last day, you would never bet against him. I know the girl that has him is still developing a relationship, and hopefully it's coming together. But Rambo is his name, and he is an absolute superstar. He's very dear to my heart. He's got a big following. There's a lot of people that are his fans, and partly because of his name, but you know what? He lived up to it. He was a bit of a pisser when he came in, and he loved to buck people off and things like that. And he's just a small little, he's probably 16 hands, got his neck way up high, and he's just a joy to watch spring around cross country, and he loves it. So it's great to see horses that have that joy and have that feeling. So I'm hoping she does well. I'm looking at the record. I'm not sure why they've had a little bit of a struggle getting the real performance out of him, because, and maybe recently it's come together, but the horse is very, very good and has been good for a very long time. And God knows Sable wasn't much use. So, he had to be definitely stepping up to compensate for her. So there it is. I'm going to try and do a little bit of an update through the weekend, and I'm going to try to get a chance to get a couple of kids together. Hopefully, if I get the Wi-Fi at the site to work, and maybe we can do a couple of little interviews or something. And but if that's going to happen, and I bring you on, you have to be funny and you have to be quick-witted, and I'm going to mock the hell out of you, because that's what I do. Anyways, from Young Riders, thanks for joining me and Buck, who wouldn't join me. And unfortunately, we're gonna have to postpone the other program that we've been shelved a couple of times. But I think it's gonna be worth watching. Anyways, thanks a lot. Bye.